We're getting ready for our metaphysical Bible study. We're closing out, uh, talking about Emmett Emmett Fox dealing with get it outside, dealing with the Lord's Prayer. That's where we at. Hey, woo, hey, thank you for the light, Divine Sunshine. Hey, hey, come on in the room, fam. Let's get it. Hey, hey, how y'all doing? Everett, Lisa Marie. This song hit me this while I was getting ready to come into this live. Hey, yeah, yeah. If you're new here for the first time, let me know where you are tuning in from. This is our Metaphysical Bible Study Hour. Hope we're going to get into this conversation. Hey, come on. What's up, Valerie King? Flavor creator. I love that. Maul B99, Carol ZTE. Ah! Hey, absolutely. I feel a little churchy today. Absolutely. What's up, everybody? We getting ready to get into it in just a moment. What's up, Dada Boss? What's up? How are you? What's up, D Dub? How are you? Woo! All right, fam, we get ready to get into this conversation. The Lord's Prayer, metaphysically, Emmett Fox breaking it down. Listen, that was Anthony Brown. Did a little gospel tunes this AM. Tania, Eugene, Douglas, Waller, those that are coming in, wherever you are, I bid you nothing but love and blessings. Praying for everybody that's in this space, those that are going to work on your way home, maybe in the grocery store this AM, whatever you find yourself doing, just sending nothing but love and light to you. You hear me? Just sending nothing but love and light to you. So this week we have been in our reading of Emmett Fox and his breakdown of the Lord's Prayer. He was pretty much talking about oneness and talking about the holiness of God, holiness, referring to wholeness, and he was making the connection that anything birth for something else has to take on those characteristics. So a rose bush is not going to birth lilies. So the same way that God is not going to birth anything outside of God. So when you really consider that the same way God is holy, referencing being whole, you too are also a whole human being. A whole human being. And there's nothing wrong or broken about you. You are perfect just the way you are. So I believe we are in the section where it talks about forgive our trespasses as we forgive them that trespassed against us. And we were Emmett Fox was talking about how the biggest sin really is the teaching or the teaching and the things that have been shared to make us feel as though we are separate from one another. Thank you, Owen Healy, for the like. And thank you, family, for tapping and sharing this live for those that might need this space, this conversation. So the problem in that is that when we handle people, if we were to handle them like they were separate from us, right? We don't realize that we are also reaping those consequences, right? So he was just sharing and talking with us that when it comes to sin, a way to look at it is that we're not separated. And when we teach separation, when we teach these ideologies that we're separated from God or that we're separated from each other, that is sin. Now let's start here. Evil, sin, the fall of man, in fact, is essentially the attempt to negative this truth in our thoughts. We try to live apart from God. We try to do without him or her for that matter. We act as though we had life, we had life of our own, as separate minds, as though we could have plans and purposes and interests separate from his. All this, if it were true, would mean that existence is not one and harmonious, but a chaos of competition and strife. Thank you so much for the like and for the share. It would mean that we are quite separate from our fellow man and could injure him or rob him or hurt him or even destroy him without any damage to ourselves. Come on, this is saying when we think that way, when we think we can do unto others and not realize we're doing it to ourselves. Without any damage to ourselves, and in fact, that the more we took from other people, the more we would have for ourselves. It will mean that the more we consider our own interests and the more indifferent we were to the welfare of others, the better off we would be. Of course, it would then follow naturally that it would pay others to treat us in the same way, and that accordingly we might expect many of them to do so. Now, if this were true, it would mean that the whole universe is only a jungle. Listen, and that sooner or later it must destroy itself by its own inherent weakness and anarchy. But of course, it is not true, and therein lies the joy of life. Undoubtedly, many people do act as though they believe it to be true, and a great many more who would be dreadfully shocked if brought face to face with that proposition in cold blood have nevertheless a vague feeling that such must be very much the way things are, even though themselves are personally above consciously acting in accordance with such a notion. Now this is the real bliss of sin, of resentment, of condemnation, of jealousy, of remorse, and all the evil brood that walk that path. If you're new here, we're doing metaphysical Bible study, just looking at Emmett Fox, who was a New Thought leader, and he pretty much brought into a lot of people awarenesses that the Bible in itself was not just this surface level teaching, right? But it was a study of the mind. It was study of humanity. Come on, 777, absolutely. Grand Rising, Jai. Grand Rising. Grand Rising. This belief in independent and separate existence is the arch sin. And now, before we can progress any further, we have to take the knife to this evil thing and cut it out once and for all. Jesus knew this, and with this definite end in view, he inserted at this critical point a carefully prepared statement that would compass our end and his, without the shadow of a possibility of miscarrying. He inserted what is nothing less than a trip clause. He drafted a declaration which will force us, without conceivable possibility of escape, evasion, mental reservation, or subterfuge of any kind, to execute the great sacrament of forgiveness in all its fullness and far reaching power. As we repeat the great prayer intelligently, considering a meaning what we say, we are suddenly, so to speak, caught up off our feet and grasped as though in a vise, so that we must face this problem, and there is no escape. We must positively and definitely extend forgiveness to everyone to whom it is possible that we can owe forgiveness, namely to anyone who we think can have injured us in any way. Let's run that back, because this be the gem right here, that gold. We must positively and definitely extend forgiveness to everyone to whom it is possible that we can owe forgiveness, namely to anyone who we think can have injured us in any way. Woo! Listen, that be that hard part when you feel like you owe it to somebody to not forgive them, when realizing it's only damaging your energy. Like, for real. Jesus leaves no room for any possible glossing of this fundamental thing, Grand Rising Sade. He has constructed his prayer with more skill than any lawyer displayed in the casting of a deed. He has so contrived it that once our attention has been drawn to this matter, we are inevitably obliged either to forgive our enemies in sincerity and truth, or never again to repeat that prayer. Ooh. It is safe to say that no one who reads this with understanding will ever again be able to use the Lord's Prayer unless and until he has forgiven man. Should you now attempt to repeat it without forgiving, it can safely be predicted that you will not be able to finish it. This great central clause will stick in your throat. I think he's making a point. Or some people might read it and they'll quickly read over the forgiveness piece. Hey, Beth. Because forgiveness takes work. And again, we often say, and it continued to ring out, that forgiveness is really not about the other person. Forgiveness is for your healing. It's for your advancement. Come on with the gifts. I appreciate y'all so much. Notice that Jesus does not say, forgive me my trespasses and I will try to forgive others, or I will see if I can, or if I will see if it can be done, or I will forgive generally with certain exceptions. He obliges us to declare that we have actually forgiven and forgiven all, and he makes our claim to our own forgiveness to depend upon that. Who is there who has grace enough to say his prayer at all? Who does not long for the forgiveness or cancellation of his own mistakes and faults? Listen, because I be needing some forgiveness. Who else is in the room that be needing for some forgiveness? Let's say that again. Who is there who has grace enough to say his prayer at all? Who does not long for the forgiveness or cancellation of his own mistakes and faults? Who would be so insane as to endeavor to seek the kingdom of God without desiring to be relieved of his own sense of guilt? Ooh, thank you for all the gifts, fam. No one, we may believe. And so we see that we are trapped in the inescapable position that we cannot demand our own release before we have released our brother. Man, the forgiveness of others is the vestibule of heaven, and Jesus knew it and has led us to the door. You must forgive everyone who has ever hurt you if you want to be forgiven yourself. Woo! Run that back. You must forgive everyone who has hurt you if you want to be forgiven yourself. That is the long and the short of it. You have to get rid of all resentment and condemnation of others, and not least of self condemnation and remorse. You have to forgive others, and having discontinued your own mistakes, you have to accept the forgiveness of God for them too, or you cannot make any progress. Sheesh. Oh my goodness. I think I'm talking to me as a reminder, because I'm going through my head about some things that I walked through recently, and when I say, trying to hold on to a grudge don't work for me no more. Because that energy be like, what we doing, Titus? And for me, I get so caught up in the energy of it that I get legit stuck in that emotion. And I'm learning to take it and learn the lesson. Like, what is this teaching me? What is this teaching me? Where is this at in me so I can release it and let it go? You have to forgive yourself, but you cannot forgive yourself sincerely until you have forgiven others first. Having forgiven others, you must be prepared to forgive yourself too. For to refuse to forgive oneself is only spiritual pride. Ooh. Listen. For to refuse to forgive oneself is only spiritual pride. And by that sin fell the angels. We cannot make this point too clear to ourselves. We have got to forgive. Thank you for the follow, Master Yi. There are few people in the world who have not at some time or other been hurt, really hurt by someone else, or been disappointed or injured or deceived or misled. Such things sink into the memory where they actually cause inflamed and festering wounds. Ooh. And there is only one remedy. They are to be plucked out and thrown away. And the one and only way to do that is by forgiveness. Of course, nothing in all the world is easier than to forgive people who have not hurt us very much. Man, listen, that be the thing. Hey, Tony. Hey. People that hurt you just this much, it'd be like, okay, you'll be okay. You know, I forgive you. But those people that have did us, that we have felt, let me say felt, because it's all about perspective, that we've taken that what I'm gonna just say it. We've taken that loss, and that loss has impacted us in such a way that now we take what that person did and use it as a reflection of all people. Or we use it as a reflection of when we see somebody move a certain way. Then we'll use that as the measuring stick of how people are. Let's run that back. Of course, nothing in all the world is easier than to forgive people who have not hurt us very much. Nothing is easier than to rise above the thoughts of a trifling loss. Anybody will be willing to do this, but what the law of being requires of us is that we forgive not only these trifles, but the very things that are so hard to forgive that at first it seems impossible to do at all. Woo. Have y'all ever had that situation? It's like, I don't know if I can forgive this one. Because that be the one. That be the one thing you need to forgive. That be the one big thing you need to forgive. That one thing you say, you know what? This is unforgivable. And that will be the one that you would have to do the work to say, you know what? I'm going to work through this so that I can lead with love. Come on. Ooh, listen. Let's run that back. Anybody would be willing to do this. Yeah, that's where my pride come. Listen, listen. That pride that will get you every time. How do you even begin to do the work though? Because I want to, but dang. You know, me personally, Tony, I would offer this. First, you have to be honest with how you feel. And I want to say honest about all of it. From maybe even red flags that you've seen that you really didn't pay attention to, or saying yes to things when you really should have said no. I think part of the forgiveness starts to really manifest when you begin to take responsibility for your part in how things manifested. Even if it was just simply not creating a boundary when you should have. I think that's a good start. And then to look at it, start to look at it is, where is this in me? Because what I have found when I have begun to, how do I want to say it? I'm trying not to say it without name dropping. When I have begun to look at the areas where I've been hurt, and really began to look at the individual and really look at how they moved, and really begin to mirror it in such a way that, okay, they did this, but where have I did that? And then begin to explore, why did I do that? One of the things I often use is lying, because lying can hurt people. And I begin to mirror, okay, they lied to me. Where have I lied and why did I lie? And for me, that has offered me the opportunity to hold space for people and to forgive them, right? While you then start doing the work to forgive yourself. I hope that helped. Nothing is easier than to rise above the thought of a trifling loss. Anybody will be willing to do this. But what the law of being requires of us is that we forgive not only these trifles, but the very things that are so hard to forgive that at first it seems impossible to do at all. And I think, like Josh said, it's like, I think part of that is pride. To even just say, you know what? I played a part in it. Because to the person that's been abused, the first thought is, well, I didn't deserve it. Maybe you didn't, but you allowed it. Can you own that you allowed it? Can you own that you didn't have a voice? Can you own that you didn't know how to be vocal about it? Listen. And I think that's where it begins. is really in that ownership and you taking accountability of the part that was played in it. But that takes honesty, that takes vulnerability, that takes getting to the truth of even going into some childhood wounds. Absolutely gotta wish yourself happy healing sometimes. Come on. Shirt is in the bio. Come on, under merchandise, just in case. I just put that plug out there. Absolutely. Sometimes you gotta wish yourself happy healing because sometimes you say some things that are out of your character. And sometimes, a lot of times, you gotta show yourself grace. All right, let's continue, fam. I'm gonna run that back one more time. The very things that are so hard to forgive that at first it seems impossible to do at all. The despairing heart cries, "It is too much to ask. That thing meant too much to me. It is impossible. I cannot forgive." Whew. But the Lord's Prayer makes our own forgiveness from God, which means our escape from guilt and limitation, depending upon just this very thing. There is no escape from this, and so forgiveness there must be, no matter how deeply we may have been injured or how terribly we have suffered. It must be done. Woo! If your prayers are not being answered, search your consciousness and see if there is not someone who you have not yet to forgive. Oh my God. Oh my. Let's run that back. Thank y'all for the like, fam. We're on our road to 10,000 likes. 3.5 so far. I appreciate you guys. Let's run that back. If your prayers are not being answered, search your consciousness and see if there is not someone who you have not yet to forgive. Find out if there is not some old thing about which you are very resentful. Ooh. Search and see if you are not really holding a grudge. It may be camouflaged in some self-righteous way. Man, against some individual or some body of people, a nation, a race, a social class, some religious movement, or which you disapprove, perhaps a political party or whatnot. If you are doing so, then you have an act of forgiveness to perform, and when this is done, you will probably make your demonstration. Ooh, listen, take it out of me, Jesus. Listen. Cause let me tell you, the hurt that was in my heart concerning church and church people after being let go from religious organizations. Listen, take it. Was my heart was like I almost cussed. Funny Uncle Cat kites these churches. You hear me? Who want to exploit the gift but don't necessarily want to know me as a person. I used to be there. And I've had to do the work to understand that religious people are on their own journey. And even now, still unpacking the feeling like I was just a throwaway once I got their ministry off the ground, or felt like I was a throwaway once they got what they needed. And because this is true story, right? The story that I had in my head, like growing ministries, singing praise and worship, people coming to the church, people coming to the church because they enjoy the praise and worship. And then me feeling like once the pastor got what he needed from me and the church was growing and booming and people came in that could sing background and all those things, then okay, well, why do we need Titus? And that left me with a foul taste in my mouth for entities in that arena. And so part of my healing has been, okay, they did what they thought was best. And it could be that my assignment was over. My assignment was over, and I just didn't leave when I needed to. Right? So taking the ownership to say, maybe I was attached to something that I recognized that I was no longer in alignment with, but chose to stay anyway. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And I feel like that helps take some of the heat off of they did me wrong. Or they did this. Yeah, I was a worship leader. Yeah. Direct choir, teaching parts, all that. Administration. Yeah. So I just said all that because part of my work has been to release that and forgive them. Listen, I feel like there's still some forgiveness because I feel like sometimes when I be talking, but anywho, that's my work. I think this healing is a journey, right? But I think what Emmett Fox is saying that as we are healing, you know, as we are trying to manifest, right? We have to clean this up. We have to clean this up for sure. For those that are holding on to anything, it's time to let it go. If you are doing so, then you have an act of forgiveness to perform. And when this is done, you will probably make your demonstration. If you cannot forgive at present, absolutely, that's their problem. Yes, 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 yes. And some of them have kind of came back to kind of check on me, for sure. And then some of them have actually called and tried and asked me to come back. And I think that has still been that was healing work. Because at first I was like, I ain't going back there. But part of my healing work was like, okay, you know what? Being okay to drop these things and move forward. Let the past be the past. If you cannot forgive at present, you will have to wait for your demonstration until you can. Sheesh. And you will have to postpone finishing your recital of the Lord's Prayer too. Or involve yourself in the position that you do not desire. Or involve yourself in the position that you do not desire the forgiveness of God. Setting others free means setting yourself free. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Buckle up for this one because this one is good. Setting others free means setting yourself free because resentment is really a form of attachment. My goodness. Did y'all catch that? Yeesh. Setting others free means setting yourself free because resentment is really a form of attachment. I'm gonna say it one more time for it to echo into our subconscious, into our entire being. Setting others free means setting yourself free because resentment is really a form of attachment. It is a cosmic truth that it takes two to make a prisoner. The prisoner and a goaler. There is no such thing as being a prisoner on one's own account. Every prisoner must have a goaler. And the goaler is as much a prisoner in his charge. Listen. Ain't that deep, Tony? Resentment is a form of attachment. When you hold resentment against anyone, you are bound to that person by a cosmic link. Oh my God, today. Listen, I think this is, you know what this is giving? This is giving why it's important to do cord cutting ceremonies. To that is resentment is a form of attachment. Jeez. Listen, we might have to do a cord cutting live to bring that to move through. When you hold resentment against anyone, you are bound to that person by a cosmic link, a real though mental chain. Woo! Let's say that again. Oh, that's what's up. Listen, maybe we can do it together. When you hold resentment against anyone, you are bound to that person by a cosmic link, a real though mental chain. Oh, that's what's up. I wrote the book down, The Seed of the Soul, The Seed of the Soul. I'm ordering books this weekend, so I'm gonna get that one. I'm gonna run this back for those that need to hear this, because this right here is setting me free even the more. When you hold resentment, and let's break down these words. Why? Since we in a study, sometimes we need to do a little digging even the more to give it a little bit more depth. You hear me? Woo! Here it is. Resentment, bitter indignation at having been treated unfairly. My God. Bitterness, indignation at having been treated unfairly. Synonyms: bitterness, indignation, irritation. Woo! So if you feel irritable by somebody's being, listen, you're dealing with resentment. Golly. Bitterness, indignation, irritation, pique, displeasure, dissatisfaction, disgruntlement, discontentment, discontent, resentfulness, bad feelings, hard feelings, ill feelings, animosity, hostility. This resentment. I just want to look at one more, because this is what does it mean to be bitter? Bitter. A bitter person is someone who is angry and unhappy because they are unable to let go of negative events from the past. Brianna, we're not doing, we're doing metaphysical Bible study currently. I'm not sure what you're asking. Jeesh. Okay, fam, I'm moving on. Bitter, someone who is angry about or unhappy because negative events they cannot let go. Jeesh. I'm gonna run this back. When you hold resentment against anyone, listen. Come on, testify, Jai. When you hold resentment against anyone, you are bound to that person by a cosmic link. Ooh, Hara, I think this will be a space. I can be bitter. Okay, I feel like people constantly drag me. It's usually the ones that are jealous of. But if they're jealous, why would that? Why would you allow that to affect you? I think that could be connected to you wanting them to accept your gifts. But then the real question now becomes, do you accept your gifts? Just something to consider. So I think the work would be asking your questions. What is their jealousy? Why does that leave you bitter? Mm. But their reaction is only an indicator that they really want what you have, right? So they're them not accepting your gifts. If you were to look at it from a standpoint, oh, you're really trying to figure out how to do this on your own account, would give a different energy. Something that absolutely something that resonates with them. So the bitterness though, the bitterness though is has to do with you. Mm, for sure. I'm gonna say this one more time. We'll keep it moving. It's sad. I got you, and it's okay to be. It's okay to feel sad. Oh, see now, oh, no, I didn't mean to put my finger at you. Sorry, and that's where the work is because we just got through talking about that because you holding somebody else responsible for what somebody else did is is preventing you from aligning with harmonious relationship. Absolutely, I'm experiencing sadness for sure. Well, you keeping your headspace clean. I don't think it's keeping your headspace clean. I think it's keeping you walled up for sure. All right, cool, fam. Here we go. But I would offer Haro that work becomes more about healing yourself in a way that speaks to loving all that you are without being impacted by somebody's else disapproval of what you have to offer. Because in that, you could be keeping those relationships that could propel you forward at arm's bay, out of protection, but protection to your detriment. Absolutely. What can I learn about myself? And this is the truth, when I have found myself jealous of other people, come on, I felt like setting my own self free. The work through has been, I want what they have. How do I get that? Or man, I can they sing so amazing. I recently did had to been doing some work on seeing people in the light, and I think I've shared that your gospel artists doing their thing, and I've been doing the work. Okay, why am I jealous of this person? And really having to clean those thoughts up that hey, they are in their lane just like I'm in my lane, and my audience is my audience, and their audience is their audience. Mm. I don't take away. I don't jive. You're right. It can be definitely frustrating. It can be definitely frustrating. But this is what has helped me. I think the frustration for me, I own this. The frustration is for me is because I want to be accepted by them. My frustration has been I want to be. Ah, well, thank you for the follow. My frustration has been I want to be accepted by this gospel community. But can I also accept that that may not actually be my community? Whew. Can I also accept that they may not even be my people that I'm called to? So maybe the frustration is you trying to fit in somewhere that you're not even called to, out of this need to be validated. And your validation first will come when you validate yourself, but it will come even greater when you find the people that you're called to. Listen, I'm finna shout myself this AM. Woo. So the forgiveness in this piece is also could be support us in a way that maybe this happened so I can see that I don't belong here. Listen. So now I can move with a different energy because the way they acted was only in a way that I needed them to act so that I could see what I need to see, because I would not have moved any otherwise. Oh my goodness. Because some of us, some of me, I would have still been at that church. I would have still been doing worship, still shifting the atmosphere because that's what my gift is called to. But inside I would have been miserable. Come on, somebody. And maybe the events that are happening or did happen was so that you could see, okay, time to shift, move, and reconsider. All right. You are tied by a cosmic tie to a thing that you hate. Whew, listen. You are tied by a cosmic tie to the thing that you hate. The one person perhaps in the whole world whom you must dislike is the very one to whom you're attaching yourself by a hook that is stronger than steel. Whew. Is this what you wish? Is this the condition in which you desire to go on living? Remember, you belong to the thing with which you are linked in thought. Sheesh. Remember, you belong to the thing with which you are linked in thought. And at some time or other, if that tie endures, the object of your resentment will be drawn again into your life, perhaps to work further havoc. Do you think that you can afford this? Of course, no one can afford such a thing. And so the way the way is clear. You must cut all such ties by a clear and spiritual act of forgiveness. You must loose him and let him go. Come on. By forgiveness, you set yourself free, you save your soul, and because the law of love works alike for one and all, you help save his soul too, making it just so much easier for him to become what he ought to be. Ooh, Emmett, you are giving us gems. Ah, oh my goodness. Ah, all right. I'm finna shed a tear. Wow. Okay. So I'm having a moment because a family member that I was having a situation with, and I was thinking, you know what? I need to check on them. They just text me while we're talking about forgiveness. Ain't that how God works? And through this situation, you know, I said some stuff, and they wanted me to apologize publicly, and I'm like, I ain't doing that shit. My pride was like, I ain't doing that. Like, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you. And I say, you know what? If this is what your healing requires, let's get it. Cause I know the truth. Listen, because they were trying to say I was lying, but I know the truth. But if it's for your ego and this is what your soul needs and requires, bet. I will say this because it don't affect me none. Happy healing. You hear me? So um and so I'm getting a text and it's like happy healing. And that's healing. When you can apologize, when you can demonstrate, right? This is called doing the work. Because at first, my first response, I ain't doing that like apologize publicly when I'm legit come to you on the side and I don't think this requires it. But if you need this, if this is for you, here's the thing, did I embarrass them publicly? I don't think I did because it was a conversation that we was having publicly. I don't think it defamed their character either because it was just kind of like I said the thing in the room that nobody else wanted to say. But I get what you're saying though. I get what you're saying, right? If I had said something to embarrass somebody, right? But what I was saying was very accurate and it was exposing them in a sense. No, not in a sense, because they were putting on this persona as they were perfect. And I was like, no, no, no. No, no, no. So what I said brought some things into the room that they wouldn't want to expose or wouldn't even want to say because the idea of when you talk religiously, well, we all have sin. Well, you talk religiously, we all have sin, but you ain't saying what that sin is. So it puts on this persona that you perfect. No, let's call it that. So no, she's taking me back. So essentially, I called some things out. I exposed what was really happening, and they were caught off guard. And so, because their face was cracked, they were embarrassed, right? And so, I apologized on the side because I think it was the manner in which I said it, and I because it mass removed, okay, defaced. You hear me? But for the sake of healing, I said, you know what? If you need this, and then the way that I worded it in my apology was basically, I apologize for my contribution to the breakdown that took place. Come on, it's in the wording. If this is what you need, I apologize for in the manner which I spoke that caused harm to you. But that's. Mm, so that's the growth though, family. When you can give somebody else healing, whether they have the capacity to return it or not. But yes, that just happened right here while we're talking about forgiveness. This person that I've been working through, even though I apologized on the sides, they didn't accept it. And I did the whole rattle. Okay, if this is how you require healing, like I don't. The way my life is, this is for me. The way the work that I've been doing, it mandates me. And I would say all 13 of y'all because I feel like if it's in the chair, it's in the room. Absolutely. Absolutely. But boundary up. You hear me? Boundary up. What I mean by boundary up is that I I know my boundary so I can still love you, but love you with a boundary. I ain't gonna say love you, Not with a boundary, but love you while I have boundaries. I think I like that wording better. Especially when it comes to family, because you still have to deal you still have to deal with family. At gatherings, you got Christmas, we got Thanksgiving. I still gotta see you. But when I see you, I wanna love on you. I wanna love on you. I don't want it to be awkward because last time I was in this place with this individual, we didn't speak. And I don't like that feeling. And healing, in my healing journey, mandates, because when you know something, you have to make it applicable. Otherwise, you continue to get the lesson. No, 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 no. I don't want this lesson. So next time we're in a space together, hey, all right, I love you. I love you. And we can be in a space to where we agree to disagree. But when I'm speaking my truth, whether you agree with me or not, maybe there's a way that I go about doing it. But for the sake of us both being healed, let me do healing in the way you need to see it, to let you know that I mean no harm by you whatsoever. And so that you can know that you are loved regardless of what happened or went down. And that's the way for all those that are here. Listen. So I'm gonna just say that I'm calling us all higher. I'm learning the boundary lesson now with the ex. Absolutely no bad intentions, but I'm feeling the pullback for sure. You got to create the boundary, right? You got to create the boundary for sure. And you move accordingly. So yes, fam, that's been our time together. What was your takeaway today? It's there for a reason, for sure. It's there for a reason. And then you have to understand that some people on your healing journey are there to teach you a lesson. Compassion and forgiveness. Listen. Look. And Tony, I want to offer this to you if that's okay. I want to offer this to you because this has set my entire soul free with working with this truth. Come on, you got to play your part in your own forgiveness before you ask God to forgive us. Come on. Tony, if I can offer this to you, I'm going to offer it to us again. I'm going to offer it to all of us in the room, okay? When it comes to forgiveness as well, as we are forgiving ourselves, forgiving others, when it comes to all this, another thing that you can consider when I'm dealing with a person that won't change or haven't changed. Oh, for sure. For sure. I can see that clause. I can see where you understand this. I can see where you're coming from. I can see where you're coming from. When it comes to forgiveness and comes to dealing with people, for sure, source just is, and God is love, for sure. When it comes to dealing with people that we feel like won't change, haven't changed, and we're working through letting go of all the past shenanigans and all the past things that they did in the past that we're holding on to. This is what I want to offer us as a reminder. Begin to check their ableness and their willingness. I'm going to continue to repeat this because this has set me free. Be able to check their ableness and their willingness, right? Are they able or are they willing? Are they able or are they willing? And are they willing? This is something that my teacher gave me. So good. Because if they are unable, then you have to be compassionate because they may not have it in them. They may not have it in them to be sympathetic, empathetic. They may not even get to the level of having an EQ where they can sense when they said something off. You hear me? So they may not have the depth in them to carry you emotionally. And in that, you become compassionate because in that space is the way that I visualize it. The way that I visualize it is as if now you have to be compassionate to that inner child, that inner girl, that inner boy that may not have healed or is able to heal in this lifetime because of that wound. And if they are unwilling, like they know better, they're choosing not to, now you have to land in a space of, I'm going to give you grace. I'm going to be merciful to you. I'm going to lead with mercy because the wrath that I have to give, I'm just not going to give it to you. You see what I'm saying? And that teaching in itself has set my soul free. Because you may not be able to even thank you for the gifts, fam. You may not even have it in you. And if you have it in you and you're just choosing not to, then I'm going to show you mercy. I'm going to say it again. You know, because it's going to come up again. I'm going to have to, as we continue to do this work, do I need to be compassionate right now? Or do I need to be merciful? I'm telling you. Whew. Y'all good, fam? Thank y'all for the 10K. Hey, thank you for the 10K. So, fam, that's been our teaching for today. We'll continue flushing this out, getting into, because this right here, you trying to manifest, let's clean up this forgiveness piece. And let's go get all that our soul is requiring from us. Because when you forgive, your vibration has to change. Listen, it's in full alignment. And if you need some support, check out the link in my bio. If you need some one-on-one coaching, I do offer that as well. If this has inspired you and you just want to be a blessing, you can always send Cashapp, $Titusglenn, or PayPal, Venmo is in my bio. As well as this article is also in my bio. It's at the top of my page. And the last announcement, we do have merch, fam. So if you want to support us, this page by purchasing from our shop, you can click on our link tree and you can find our merch, Happy Healing, and just help us in sending out this healing vibration and work that we get to do. All right, fam? So we're going to end with our dismissal song and we're going to see you guys later, okay? Here we go. Just in case you haven't heard it in a while. Hey. And just in case you really need to know. You're welcome, Kimmy. Come on. Just in case you haven't heard it in a while. Just in case you really need to know. Whoa, I love you back. Ayy, I love you. I love you. I love you back. Ayy, I love you. I love you. I love you back. Ayy, I love you. I love you. I love you back. All right, fam. I love you. Y'all have the most amazing day. What's up, Zion? All right, y'all go follow Zion for health and wealth. I just did a podcast with him, and we will be releasing that in the future. So y'all make sure y'all go follow Zion. Welcome to more. Awesome, awesome, cool guy teaching us about how to live healthier and better lives. So y'all make sure y'all go follow him for sure. All right. Love y'all. Talk to you guys later. Listen. Mm-hmm. Oh, sinuses, my God.